Well, one of my superpowers is holding on to stuff for years and then throwing it out the week before I need it. Today we have the superpowers of Christ, his authority of teaching, his authority over unclean spirits. We are now back in ordinary time. We're in St. Mark's Gospel, chapter 1, verse 21. And St. Mark emphasizes Jesus the Exorcist, his power over demons, the ability to cast out evil spirits. But first he goes into the synagogue and he teaches. It says the people were astonished at his teaching because he taught with authority. He taught with power. And the word authority, we see the word author. Jesus is the author of life, so he can truly teach with power and authority because he is the author of life. It says he taught unlike all the other scribes and Pharisees. They would quote different rabbis, but they would not make pronouncements where Jesus would say things like, Moses said to you such and such, but I say to you. So Jesus taught with authority because he is God. He can teach with power. He wasn't just quoting other rabbis or scholars. He taught because he is the divine Son of God. And throughout the Gospels, Jesus would show his powers over every aspect of life. He would show his power over nature by walking on the water or calming the storm, or cursing the fig tree. Jesus showed his power over disease and illness by curing the paralytics, giving sight to the blind, giving hearing to the deaf. Jesus would show his authority and power even over death itself by raising the daughter of Jairus from the dead, the son of the widow of Nain from the dead, the Lazarus from the dead, even after he was dead for 4 days. So Christ as God shows his authority over nature, disease, over death. And today we see his power over evil spirits. Because in the synagogue it says there was a man with an unclean spirit. He cried out, he shrieked out, "What have you to do with us?" So it seems that this man was possessed by perhaps more than one demon. "What have you to do with us, Jesus of Nazareth? Have you come to destroy us?" That's a reference to Genesis 3:15, where God told Satan that the seed of the woman would crush the head of the serpent. So the demons knew that the Messiah would come to destroy them, to take away their power. And yet, it says the demons knew who Jesus was. "I know who you are, the Holy One of God." Even though human beings were really clueless at who Jesus was for so long, the demons knew. They have they're angelic, they're fallen angels. They have a keen intellect. They knew who Jesus was, that he was the Holy One of God. Now it says Jesus rebuked them, told them to be quiet and come out of him. The Lord wanted to reveal who he was on his own timetable. He did not want the demons to reveal him too early. And of course, even though they spoke the truth in this case, as the father of lies, they would also speak falsehood. Jesus did not want their testimony to count. So Jesus rebuked them and said, "Come out of him." So it says the unclean spirit convulsed him and with a loud cry came out of him. And the gospel concludes by saying all were amazed and asked one another, "What is this?" A new teaching with authority. He commands even the unclean spirits and they obey him. So the Lord gave this power to the apostles to preach, to teach, to baptize, and to cast out demons. We see this in the Acts of the Apostles, and for the last 2,000 years, the church has been performing exorcisms. Everything that Christ did as the head of the church, so the members of the church continue these things, to teach, to heal. Jesus fed the 5,000, so the church feeds us with the bread of life, the Eucharist. Jesus cast out demons. The church continues to do exorcisms today throughout the world. You can read some of Father Gabriel Amorth's books. The Exorcist tells a story, or you can go online, listen to Father Lambert or Father Carlos Martins or these other very wonderful and powerful exorcists that we have in our church today that tell their stories of how God continues to work through his church by having authority even over the unclean spirits.